Hey guys, Bam here. So today I want to show you what I've been working with, which is Harvest on T17. And I'm not using crop rotation because I think the scarab for crop rotation is costs way too much right now. It's like 1.6 divine. So it can be worth, but sometimes you will be under what you actually invested into it. So if you get unlucky. So I prefer this strategy. It still works pretty fine. It gives you a bunch of juice and also some other stuff, and I'll talk about it. All right, so first off, we'll talk about the scarabs. So we're using 3 cartography scarab of risk. So this gives an additional random modifier to your map. So unless your build is super tanky, it can be difficult because some mods are really hard for some builds. For example, if I get no regen on my build, I can still do it, but it's pretty annoying. Aside of that, like reflex, of course, stuff like that that kills your build can be a pain. So just make sure that your build is good overall. I'll give a strategy on how to go around reflex stuff, but yeah. The other thing is this harvest crab of doubling. That's super important. If you're doing any harvest strategy, you need this because you pretty much get double the outcome you would normally. The only downside is that they have 100% more life, but it's fine. And then we're using Harvest Crab of Cornucopia. The reason why we're using this is we want to get as many tier 4 seeds as possible. That's the best way to do it. Then for the map, we're trying to roll maps until we get a high pack size. I would say 70% plus is really cool. But here we only roll 50% more. And then we just use normal cartographer chisels, and we'll use harvest on the map device. So that's about it for the scarabs plus the map device. Now I'll talk about the atlas. Before I go too deep into the atlas strategy, I just want to talk about something. If you want to save some currency, you can either force the harvest with those nodes, so meaning like plus 10 until you get up to 100%. Here we have 20% more. You actually have one here, and you have another one here. So you could do that to guarantee the harvest, or you can also remove one of the cartography scarab of risk and use a harvest scarab. That way it's guaranteed. But for the sake of this strategy, I'm not using it. Do whatever feels best for you. But here we're only using the map device with harvest. All right. The atlas is focused on T17, so we're trying to get as many increase effect implicit modifier on your maps and as much quantity as possible. So yeah, aside of that, we get every single nodes that give harvest something special. So here we have 50% chance to get an additional harvest. That doesn't mean encountering the harvest, it means a plot. And here we have 200% increase experience, doesn't matter, but harvest plants in your map have 10% chance to spawn additional monsters, so it needs more juice. Here we have harvest crops in your map have 60% increased chance to contain a tier 4, and harvest maps have 10% chance for the unchosen crop to not wilt. So meaning whenever you pick up one side or the other, you have 10% chance that the other will not appear, and you can actually harvest from it. Aside of that, we have here, life force drop by harvest monster in your maps have 10% chance to be duplicated. And then the most important part, we do not use crop rotation because of the grab we're using, the Cornucopia. We want to have tier 4 seeds. And we pretty much reduce the purple and blue juice because as for this league, as always, the yellow juice is worth way more. We're trying to get as many yellow crops as possible, so that's why we're doing this. Alright, that's it for the harvest. Aside of that, we're picking up every single shrine because it gives a bunch of blue monsters, meaning more gold, more chances at getting random drops, and also it gives us borrowed powers, which is always good. And then we have a bunch of scarabs. Of course, we're trying to get the ambush scarabs. Aside of that, I would say this node is really something you could swap around for whatever. It could be like a 3% more scarab found, to be honest. It doesn't really matter. But I got it here just for whenever I get the Grand Eldritch Iker. Whenever we get this, we can actually duplicate them, but still, it doesn't really matter. And that's about it. As I said, it's not a big thing. We pick up all the wheel for the increased quantity, increased rarity and quantity here. And since we're already reaching in this, we'll get just those without having to actually lose some points just to get in there. Yeah, that's about it. As I said, as many increased explicit modifiers on the map as possible. And we are using either world influence. You could be using the Searing Zark, but personally I prefer using the Ether World, especially since we're trying to get as much quantity as possible. So Ether World is actually the best at it. Alright, next we're blocking a couple of stuff. So we're blocking rituals because we don't want any scarabs on it. We're playing light for the same reason, and then we're blocking Delirium for we don't want any scarabs. Actually, the mirrors could be worth something, but I just can't care. And I don't like using the Delirium mirror because everything gets grayed out. And T17, when you get a bunch of odds, sometimes it's hard to see what's on the ground and stuff like that. It's even harder with Delirium. So that's why I'm blocking it. You don't have to if you don't want. And yeah, aside of that, a bunch of quantity stuff. And yeah, we talked about the increased effect modifiers. And yeah, that's about it for the Atlas strategy. The only thing left to talk about is the singular focus. So on T17, I really like to use singular focus with this strategy. So having none of your maps favorited, meaning it will just drop as currency instead. For me personally, it's easier than to try to get T16. I always get way too many T16 maps, but if you're struggling with maps, you can actually remove the singular focus. Personally, I have over 1,000 T16 maps, and I don't even like I over sustain them, so I don't care. And I never sell maps, so yeah, that's why I'm using this strategy. You don't have to, as I said, if you don't want, it would save you like 2 points if you want, and place them somewhere else. So that's it for the Atlas strategy. Now I'm just going to run a map. As you can see, we have Harvest chosen here, and we have a bunch of modifiers that we don't care about. But remember that with the cartography scarab risk, it will actually add another modifier. So maybe sometimes you get something bad out of it. Make sure you choose the Eater of World influence. And yeah, let's do this. So the most important thing is actually try to clear everything before going into the harvest, because you're trying to get as many plus quantity altars as possible before going into the harvest. If you don't get any, it's fine. Just saying like, don't do it. Don't do your harvest first and then find the altars, which will suck. Here we don't want any of those, so we'll just skip it. See, this is one of the things that I hate. If you're using Delirium, sometimes you just can't see those pits, and yeah, they're pretty annoying. So here we're just trying to find as many altars as possible for the quantity. If we encounter the boss, we'll just kill it. Yeah, T17 is always super good on gold. Usually I have between 50 to 60,000 gold maps, so here again, we don't care about those mods, so we'll just move on. Or sometimes you can actually find the either the Exalt or the Divine Shrine, but it's altar, I mean, but it's super rare. Here we have basic currency duplicated, sure. As long as the mod isn't breaking your build, it's fine. For me personally, one thing I actually hate is the projectile go in a random direction. It's kind of annoying, especially when you're trying to kill the boss. But if you have killed the boss already, it's fine for my build, personally. As I said, the more you know your build and the more you know what you can and cannot run, the easier it will be for you. Go, it got full bugs, so this will happen because we have a 17 with a bunch of dead mods. Here we find the harvest. Try and pick up everything. And Jor's Orb, we don't care about this. Probably the boss up there. Yep. I like to open a portal before to the boss, and we'll try to one-shot it. Right. Of course, the speed of your map will depend on your build, that's for sure. Also, it works on any T17. Reason why I'm running Fortress right now is just that I have a bunch of them. We'll try to do the whole map before entering the harvest. As I said, we're still trying to get some of the altars. Still no luck with the altars. There we go, this is exactly what we're looking for. For Quant. As we can get 3 or 4 of those, will help a lot for the shoes. Can't skip those. Oops. Scary. And yeah, that's about it. I have some stuff I haven't done just yet, but I think I did most of the map. Right, now we'll go to the harvest. Yeah, since we're not using crop rotation, doesn't really matter what order you do it in. I just suggest always doing the bosses. Unless you have a really good reward as a yellow then versus another color, but even then I'd say go for the bosses. The annoying part is that bosses actually have big phases, so you just can't one-tap them, you actually have to wait. You can see here, it changes phases. And then yeah, we can kill. Sometimes it will drop the invitation to, I think I'll pick it up to disent it. Sometimes it will drop the invitation for El Shabi. Lucky, I would say it's about 1 in 4. So 1 in 4 bosses will drop it to you. It's like 0.8 divines right now. Here is a good example. So we have 2 bosses, but we have the yellow one. So yeah, it would have been cool if the second crop didn't wilt, but yeah, it happens only 10% of the time you actually keep it. So here we have the boss. Now he phases. This is like the annoying part. You have to wait for the phase. Aside of that, it's pretty straightforward. Go again, no seed, but you got doubled, so we got 2,700 life force. That boss for yellow is pretty good. And then yeah, we're done. That's it for. So we'll see. This is all the juice we got. So this is close to a divine. Yeah, ignore the 4,400. It's actually false. It's just price fixing. So close to a divine, and then this is at like half a divine or something. So yeah, you will get way more than what you invested into it, and this is not even getting the Sacred Grove. Alright, now what's the cost of using this strategy? Well, of course, we are using Harvest on the map device, so that's 6 chaos. As I said, you have alternative if you don't want to do this, but this is it, the biggest chunk of what it costs. So then we have the T17. It ranges between 50 chaos to 100 chaos, depending on the tier of it. If you want to go for the cheapest, you can go for a Citadel map. Again, applying the same strategy, just make sure you get as high pack size as possible. 70% plus is really the best. Then we have Cartography, Scarab of Risk. We have 3 of them, so around 13 chaos for all 3 of them. The biggest scarab is Harvest Scarab of Cornucopia, which is 40 chaos each. Okay, so here we have 13, then 40, so 53 chaos for the scarabs, and then scarab doubling, which is around 20 to 25 chaos each, depending on if you buy in bulk or not. Yeah, so 53, let's say 53 plus 25, so 78 chaos, plus this, 84 chaos for the scarab and the mat device, plus whatever T17 you're using. But of course, you will get out way more than this just in yellow juice, and then you can always get some Sacred Blossom. And also keep in mind that the boss from the T17, it drops fragments. The only thing is that this strategy really needs a super good build because we're running Scarab of Risk, which means we get modifier that we are not rolling. So let's say you have some mods that you just cannot roll. If you have a lot of them and you're using them, the Scarab of Risk, increases your chances of actually breaking the map. So yeah, keep that in mind. Theoretically, this strategy could work on T16, but I'm not a fan of it because you get so much more juice from T17. So if you cannot do T17 juice, just wait and do another strategy instead. This is really aimed at T17. Alright, now for the profit. Where most of our profit will come from the harvest itself. So in harvest, we'll get between 4,000 and 7 or 8,000 yellow juice and some of the other like purple and blue juice. But of course, we're aiming for yellow juice because it's worth more than twice the price of the others. So that's what we're aiming for. And straight up from that, if we get more than 3,400 yellow juice, it's already more than divine, covering all the costs from all the scarabs and the map plus the harvest if you're using Citadel. If you're using another map, of course, it will cover only partly because Citadel is the cheapest. Then you have the fragments from the boss itself and all the loot, random loot you get from the T17 map, plus all the gold you get from this, because you get on average between 40,000 to 70,000 gold per map. Just keep in mind running those maps takes a while because You pretty much have to do the map twice because you have to clean everything and then go back to the harvest. So it takes a while. On average, takes me from 7 to 10 minutes, but it depends on what your character is, of course. Yeah, aside of that, you get a bunch. Since we're running T17, you get a bunch like of divines, Valdo puzzle box, stuff like that. So yeah, of course, it also adds up. But you're guaranteed making your money back with the harvest juice, which is the cool part out of this strategy. Well, I hope this was helpful. I'll link in the description a video of 5 harvests I did from T17, and then you can see on average what it gives you. As I said, you really need a super good build to run this strategy. If you're struggling in T16, don't even think about it. It will be super hard because of the scarab risk. Hopefully this helped you, and as always, take care, guys.